Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to So Connected. On here, I talk about things that leave you feeling more connected to yourself and to the world around you. And today, we're discussing 5 challenges that you might face on your self improvement journey. The very first challenge that you might face is feelings of self doubt, feelings of the imposter, imposter syndrome to be specific. So, when you've just started your journey of, changing yourself, changing your mind, changing your life, there's a voice that's going to come telling you that, maybe what you're doing is not good enough, it's not the real you, that maybe you're faking it, that this new version of yourself is not sustainable. This voice tells you that people are going to find out that you're a fraud, that this is not the real you. And this voice stops you from doing what you want to do. For example, if you said that you want to go to the gym every day, that's your new resolution, your new challenge that you've given yourself, especially on the days when you don't go, if you miss a day, that voice is likely to pop up to tell you that you thought you were going to do this, you thought you were really going to go to the gym that many times. A voice that is rooted in your past self. The reason why you shouldn't believe this voice is because this is the exact voice you're trying to change. For example, if you've been doing something for 20 years and now you're deciding to not do that thing, it's normal to get that voice that's telling you that you're a fraud, that this is not possible for you, especially at the beginning, because you are setting new pathways, you're creating a new mind. So when this voice comes, don't believe it. It's a lie. It's a lie that wants you to keep you in your comfort zone. It doesn't want you to change because change is uncomfortable. It wants you to give up on yourself. But if you listen to that voice and give in, I think in the future there might be feelings of, I wouldn't say regret, but maybe disappointment in yourself of, I could have kept going. For example, for the gym example, if you set your goal as you're going every single day and then you miss one day and then you put yourself down for missing that one day, it's likely that you're not going to try again. But if you just look at it as a setback, as a mistake, and then you're like, tomorrow I'm going to try again, even if you don't go the next day, the whole point is not giving up on yourself. Very important. So when this voice comes up, this is where affirmations are very powerful, where you challenge that voice, you ask for evidence, you question it, like, is it rooted in truth or is it rooted in your past self? What is the voice representing? But above all, changing the voice. Like, if there's a voice that's telling you that you are not strong enough to keep going, affirmations are important there, where you tell yourself that, no, I am strong enough. I have everything within me to keep going. The universe and God does not test me unless I can handle it. Saying words that affirm you, affirm your journey. I think another thing that will help is just accepting yourself, that this journey is imperfect, that not every day you're going to believe in yourself, not every day your mood is going to be high, and because of that you might get thoughts that are discouraging, and that is normal. What you don't want to do though is get in a relationship with those thoughts, like I was saying, believing them and taking them as truth. They're only signals showing you that you are actually on the right path, that what you're doing is actually perfect for you on your journey. And this voice is testing you to see, are you really committed to the path that you're saying that you're on now? That's what those voices are trying to bring out. The next challenge that you might face is tied to the first thing: negative self talk. You might have to deal with negative self talk that, again, is rooted in your past self. Remember, you are creating a new version of yourself. Not exactly creating a new version of yourself, but you are becoming a different version of yourself. So, this old version of yourself is the one that sometimes has that negative self talk. Even your present, this new version of yourself might have that negative self talk that is discouraging you, that is telling you that what you're doing is not the real you. This voice, which I call the roach. This roach is basically asking for your attention, kind of like what I was saying in the first point, that voices of self doubt are there for you to, they're there to show you that a part of you needs healing. That part of you needs healing. That part of you needs to be affirmed. That part of you needs to be loved. That part of you needs to feel safe and reassured. So when these voices come around, that's why it's important to question them and to ask if it's true, and what evidence that is there that it's true. And even if it's true, is it possible to write a new story, which it is? Basically giving those thoughts attention and love and making them feel safe, making yourself feel safe, because usually those voices of self-doubt, negative self-talk is a version of you that requires that reassurance. Sometimes it's our inner child or just a part of ourselves that isn't yet ready to, come into the light, dare I say. I guess it is light because when you're improving yourself, you are reclaiming your light. And a part of that is you shining that light on these kinds of thoughts. And when I'm saying light, I'm talking about your awareness. You being aware right now, being fully with me, is you being aware. And that's the same thing for your thoughts. If you really become aware of them and look at them and face them, that's how you dissolve them. The alternative of avoiding, of distracting yourself, only makes that voice grow bigger. And I'm assuming that is not something you want to do. So, with negative self talk, affirmations are still a great, very, very good tool. Deep breathing, meditating, exercise, going into nature, all these things can help with negative self talk. And yeah, I encourage you to try out one of them. I actually wanted to share a tool that can help with negative self talk, because remember, negative self talk brings self doubt. And when you doubt yourself, there's more thoughts, more negative thoughts, which bring more doubt. It's like a cycle. So I believe that awareness is really the answer. And for me, I wanted to share this tool that really, really helps me. I call it the 1111 method. Basically, how this method works is anytime you see 1111 on the clock, or any numbers that are in synchronicity, like 222, 111, 1212, 1010. What numbers do I use? I also use my birthday sometimes. For example, if you're born on May 20th, that can be your number, your 1111 number. Basically, when you see these numbers, take a moment to check in with yourself. I use them to practice gratitude. So I see 11:11 on the clock. I'm mentioning things that I'm grateful for that minute. In this moment, for example, if I saw 11:11 on the clock, I would go ahead and mention my gratitude for this mic, my gratitude for a voice, my gratitude for my mood, my gratitude for the food I've eaten. I'm basically focusing on everything I'm grateful for in that moment. Another way I use the 11:11 method is, another way I use the 11:11 method is to take a deep breath. When I see 11:11 on, I take a moment to take a deep breath, because most times we are taking short breaths, which make our nervous system feel not calm. So the longer, deeper breaths that you take, the more relaxation you bring to your system. So if you take advantage of all these numbers that keep showing up, the 333s, 444s, 555, 123, I'm telling you, I have a list of numbers that I like. And yeah, when I see those numbers, I'm taking the time to be present with myself, to give myself the awareness. And as I'm taking in those deep breaths, I'm taking in what is good, breathing in what is good, and exhaling any tension, any negative thoughts I might have. Another way I use the 11:11 method is to check in on my vibration. Like, how am I feeling? So the clock is saying 11:11. I'm checking in. How am I feeling right now? If my answer is, oh, I feel a bit sad, oh, I feel very happy, I'm feeling joy, I'm feeling disappointed. If it is a high vibration like love and joy and enlightenment, I'm giving gratitude for that feeling. Like, I'm thanking God for having that feeling. If my feeling is low, for example, shame and guilt and fear, I am checking what voices, what thoughts have been running. Because usually our thoughts affect our feeling. Not usually, our thoughts affect our feelings. So if I'm feeling low, it means that there's thoughts that I have that have been running, and it is important for me to either journal about those thoughts or to affirm myself and reframe. So the 11:11 method is so good for someone who wants to tune in, you know. So if you're a person who wants to be more aware of your feelings, how your body is feeling, I encourage it. I encourage it if you want to practice more gratitude. I encourage it if you want to take more deep breaths. I encourage the 11:11 method for anything awareness. If you want to be aware of yourself, sometimes you can use the 11:11 method to affirm yourself. For example, if I have a daily affirmation, once I see the clock is 3:33, I will take that affirmation and say it, that day's affirmation. For example, sometimes my affirmation, because I have a sweet tooth, is I honor my mind and body through the food that I'm eating. And I say that every time I see the 11:11 or the 3:33 or 4:44. I just use that time to say my affirmation of the day. So it's just a powerful tool to use. And yeah, this is something I actually came up with because I know people use 11:11 to make wishes and all this stuff. And I was like, wait, I can use this to be more aware. And so far, it's been so good for me, and I think it will be great for you, especially if you want to combat negative self talk. 11:11 strikes, you're like, what thoughts are running through my mind right now? And if you can't figure out the thought that you have running, that's when you check in with your body. How am I feeling right now? Because how you feel in your body will tell you the kind of thoughts that you've been running. Most times the thoughts are automatic, that you are not fully aware. But I feel like once you connect to the feeling in your body, then it's going to be a bit easier to find the thoughts that are running, that are causing that feeling. The third challenge that you might face is navigating perfectionism and fear of failure. Something I've already hinted on, that when you start this journey, you have high energy. You are excited to change your mind, to change your life. And you forget that you are a human a human who makes mistakes, a human who might fall back on their goals, and that is okay. It's important to remember on this journey that you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes are part of any growth journey, and you are growing. So, when you're setting your very high standards, just remember that you are a human and your energy is going to be very different every day, especially us women. Our energy towards our period and after our period, this is very different. So, you want to organize your life based off of that if you have the privilege to do that. I also want to talk about the fear of failure because when you get on the self improvement journey, for example, if you say you're quitting alcohol or you're quitting, something that you were doing, especially socially, when you regress, there's going to be feelings of guilt, maybe even shame, because maybe now people know you as a person who doesn't drink, and now you have broken your own rule. It's important to remember your imperfection and to also remember those feelings of guilt that you have and shame, because those feelings usually show up when we have violated our own values. And the reason why you should remember that feeling is that way the next time you attempt to break your own rules and values, you know that you are going to feel that way. And if you are doing things out of love for yourself, you are also thinking about your future self, how your current actions are going to affect your future self. For example, if you're procrastinating right now, you have to think about your future self because your future self is going to do that work. So sometimes it's important to have that perspective and to remember that you are imperfect and it is okay to make mistakes, and you can always start again over and over and over again. As long as you don't give up on yourself, you are still on the journey. If you said you're supposed to work out 7 days a week and now you haven't gone to the gym in a month, it doesn't mean that you're a failure, that you've fallen off, that this lifestyle is not for you. No, you can start again tomorrow and start over. Giving up on yourself is not an option. Well, it is, but it is not. And I don't think you can never, if you have breath, that's always a sign that God hasn't given up on you. So try not to give up on yourself. And then when you have these feelings, I also think that talking to your friends who know your goals and your true self is very helpful, because they'll remind you that, it's a journey that you have just started. So it means that you're going to make a mistake. Like I said, if you've had patterns running for years and years and years, you're not just going to break them in a month or 2 or 5 months. It's going to take time and persistence and consistency. So just remember, mistakes are missed takes. Kind of like in the movies, they take so many takes before the final one. That's exactly what mistakes are. You're going to make so many mistakes before you become who you are supposed to be. So embrace them, learn from them, and know that you are not your mistakes. The fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of being just misunderstood can show up, especially when it comes to mistakes. So that's why I'm saying all that stuff, to remind you of your humanity. The next thing that you're going to face, the next challenge that you might face, is people pleasing and boundaries. For example, if you are if you were the kind of person in the past who was saying yes to everything, you never said no to anybody, you put other people's feelings first before your own, you're going to have that challenge of feeling bad when you say no now that you're on this self improvement journey. And that's okay. All you need to remind yourself is that your needs are just as important as other people's, and that when you fulfill your needs first, you show up better for other people. And because of that, it's okay to fill your own cup first. And if you prioritize other people instead of yourself, you know what that brings: resentment. Resentment, and we don't want that. So just remember that boundaries are your friend. Yeah, boundaries are your friend, especially as a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, I'm assuming, since you're on the self improvement journey. Understand that there's some people who are not going to understand this new version of you. Think about it. You've been saying yes and yes for years, and now you're changing. Some people are not going to like that because they benefit from you saying yes all the time. So what do you mean you're saying no? So some people might think that you've changed, that you're selfish now, but don't let that deter you. Just remember that they know that old version of you, so it's going to take them some time to get used to the version of you that says no, the version of you that prioritizes yourself and your energy first before other people. And that is okay. Like I said, when you do that, you show up better. You pour into other people better when you've poured into yourself. Doing things that you don't want to do to please others is a recipe for disaster and resentment, like I said. So remember that you are trying to be a new person now, and it is okay if you explain yourself sometimes, because I think people say no is a full sentence. I'm like, okay. But if you have been people pleasing for a while and now you are saying no, someone might call you rude, and maybe they're right. So it's okay if you over explain yourself, especially to your friends, to be like, okay, I know I typically say yes, but I'm saying no because I'm trying to prioritize myself right now. I don't have a lot of energy to give. I don't have a lot of energy to be around people. Just be honest, and the people who truly care for you will be understanding. But I think that just saying no, like, it is okay to do that, but I think there is a consequence for that, that someone might think that it's rude, and they might think that you're not prioritizing them, and yeah, they might think of it the wrong way. So if you're willing to accept the consequences of just saying no, that's fine. For me, I'm always like, it's okay to explain yourself to your friends, especially if it's strangers or maybe at work. Okay, maybe you can just say no. But I think that our friends are deserving of some kind of explanation, especially if we're changing into something that they're not familiar with. For you, I think for a person who is recovering from people pleasing, self care is what I would recommend as a solution, because you've prioritized other people for so long. So I would recommend a me time exercise at least once a week. Just having a time in your calendar, maybe 1 hour or two, me time, where you just do what you want to do, whatever it is, whatever satisfies you. You need a lot of that, a lot of pouring into yourself, because you haven't been doing that. So the more you do that, you'll start to understand the value of actually taking care of yourself, and you'll feel less guilty for saying no. You'll feel less guilty for prioritizing yourself. You are just as important as other people. Your needs are just as important as other people's. You are deserving of love from yourself first. And that starts with how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you spend your energy, how you spend your time. That's all self love. The last and final thing is inconsistent motivation and energy. That is a big challenge, even for me. Like I said, when you're starting this self improvement journey, you have a lot of energy, and sometimes you overcommit, and you want to be very careful of that, because you think that you're this new version of yourself instead of you are becoming it. You might overcommit to things that you might not be ready for. For example, let's stay with the gym example that I've been using. when you first started, people, especially on New Year's, that's a good example actually. On New Year's, where people start these, gym memberships, and they say they're going to the gym 6 times a day, they forget that their past self was not even going to the gym once a day. Okay, maybe they were, but I'm like, sometimes we we put so much pressure on our bodies without understanding that our bodies also need time to step into this new version of ourselves. So it's important to pace yourself. Maybe instead of saying you're doing 6 days a week, you can start with 3 days and see how that feels. And then you can up it to 4 days a week. And then if you feel you're comfortable with that, you up it to 6 days a week. Pace yourself, because you are a human being. And it is okay if every day is not go, go, go. And you need rest just as much as you need all these things that you're trying to do. So prioritize your rest and prioritize things that fill your cup. And that's why I was saying that inconsistent motivation and energy, because especially for women, on the week of your period, your energy is low. So if you overcommitted to this 6 times a week stuff for the gym, it's like you're going to feel so guilty. Okay, you might feel very guilty for not fulfilling that promise that you made to yourself. And yeah, that brings up thoughts of self doubt and all these other things that we are trying to avoid. So that's why, for me, I like to plan my days based off of energy. When I'm waking up, I check in. How am I feeling today? And based off of that, I will plan my day accordingly. If I feel like my mood is low, I'll plan my day according to that. Same thing, some days I wake up with really, really high energy. I'm going to fill my to do list on those days. But I know that every day can be the same. And on the days that I've put pressure on myself to make every day the same, where I'm hitting all my to do lists, I don't even get through one item on the list. Because my body is like, girl, we need to rest. We need to do something else that's not this work. So just try to listen to your body, because they're going to communicate. Your body is always letting you know. And if you're listening, then you will do whatever is appropriate for whatever your body is telling you. You just have to remember that this is all about progress, not perfection. Progress over perfection. It doesn't matter what consistency looks like to you. For some people, it's 2 days a week. For other people, it's like 2 days a month. And as long as you're not breaking promises to yourself, that's what matters. And even if you break promises to yourself, you can make new promises and try not to break them. The reason why I say I'm talking about the whole breaking trust with yourself is because when you say you're going to do things and you don't do them, you lose trust in yourself. And when you lose trust in yourself, you doubt yourself. And when you doubt yourself, you are not fully in your power. You are in fear, actually, when you're doubting yourself, because doubt brings fear, and fear keeps us stuck. It's hard to do things when you're scared. So, yeah, just remember that. Everyone has their level of progress. Try not to compare your journey to other people. Other people don't have your story, they don't have your life, they don't have whatever you have going on. So consider that. And yeah, I think that's a part of self love, honestly. Just being considerate of your own self and your own feelings and your own energy. And yeah, taking that into consideration in every choice and step that you take. But ultimately, what you can do, especially when it comes to energy and motivation, is just incorporating purpose into your daily actions. Like making sure that the things that you're doing in a way are aligned with your values. That's it. Because I think that when you are doing that, you will feel fulfilled no matter what you do or don't do through your day. Some days, like I said, it will look like rest, and other days it will look like hitting everything on your to-do list. So I encourage you to look out for the moments where you feel really happy, where you feel so much joy, so much fulfillment, like your life has meaning. Look out for moments like that and observe what you're doing, who you're speaking with, whatever you're involved in, because you want to do more of that. And if you're someone who wants to find their purpose, you don't know how to start, I have the perfect guide for that, from seeking to solving, for simple ways to build a life of purpose and meaning, no matter where you are. And in there, I talk about 4 P's that guide you to purpose: finding a problem to solve, being passionate about whatever it is that you're doing, positive impact, a desire to have positive impact, and the last thing is, what is the last P? Well, you're going to have to find out the last P, because now I'm just going off of, I'm just winging it right now. But I have a free guide that I'm going to link in my description for anyone who's interested. Actually, I also have a workbook that follows the guide. And in the workbook, you get to create your own life of purpose and meaning. And yeah, I'll leave everything in my description. So that's really it for today. Just want to let you know that you might be challenged on this journey. It's not a guarantee that all these things that I've said are going to happen, but they just might. So let me know how I can help you. And if you want to get more clear on, your path, that's literally what I do. If you want more clarity on, just creating a life that aligns with you and your values, a life of purpose, that is the work I do. So feel free to contact me, to DM me, email me. I will leave all my contacts in the description. Check out all my other episodes and let me know what you would like to see more on this channel and podcast. And just comment what you think about this video, what you learned, what you took away from this video, and what you're going to apply. Yeah, thank you so much for watching and for giving me your time. I'll be talking to you very soon in my next video. Bye.